villages. Is this beast a shade as well?
That thing sucked up the villages.
No! If we keep this
Falling in love with Nier Automata was a given. A bizarre story with stunning visuals, merging genres and myriad ideas, Yoko Taro's futuristic mindfuck was a masterpiece. The decision to release the Japanese upgrade of Nier to the Western audiences finally allows fans to experience the prequel. With added content and changes to the protagonist, Nier Replicant was an opportunity to tell a more robust version of events. With even more stuff added to this version, the ridiculous number excluded from this review, there's plenty of reason to be excited. While it isn't a patch on Automata, Replicant embodies the same feeling of 2B's story with incredible combat and some beautiful visuals. The story follows a boy and his terminally ill sister in a broken down civilization. After a prologue that allows you to experience all the awesome combat that will unlock later, it's taken away and the game skips forward 1,000 years. Peak Taro. From then, the protagonist must find a cure for his sister while battling creepy enemies known as shades. A lot of the earlier parts of Nier Replicant are annoying. Going back and forth between NPCs to ask a single question or have a brief conversation feels pointless. There's no fast travel, which is something Replicant even addresses in an oh well shit happens kind of way. So many of these segments begin to frustrate. When the story does start to pick up, you'll be visiting nearby settlements such as a fishing village, a creepy forest and a mining facility. As the story progresses, two characters start to follow you around and help you out when facing the shades. Kaine is a vulgar and troubled young woman who prances about in next to nothing and yells profanities. The other character, Emile, is a little more familiar. He's a young blind boy that has immense power, and by the time he enters the story, the links between the two games begin to show. These friends become part of a family. When the game gets infinitely better about halfway through, combat becomes the best thing about Replicant. The majority of the characters are likeable. Two members of Critical Role voice two of the characters. Laura Bailey, Kate from Gears and Abby from The Last of Us Part 2 plays Kaine, whilst Liam O'Brien is Grimoire Vice, the early magical book. They bounce off each other well, but also grow as the story moves on. There are a ton of cliches, but by the time you're fighting humongous shades and countless waves of enemies, they don't really matter. Of course, there are also multiple endings. Given the fun likely to be had, there'll be plenty of reasons for players to keep on playing, especially with how the first one ends. By utilising dark magic, new abilities can be equipped to the trigger and shoulder buttons. There are loads to choose from, including spikes that impale enemies, spherical projectiles and a protective wall. When the protagonist grows up and becomes an adult, the ability to equip new weapons becomes available. Not only are magical abilities being switched around, so too are the weapons. Short swords, great swords and spears become a part of the combat options. The bigger swords are slower but do more damage, the spear is swift but lacks manoeuvrability, and the smaller sword is versatile but lacks the punch of its larger counterpart. Everything can be switched between quickly. There's an option for every fight encountered, whether it's against an army of shades or a big boss. On top of that, each weapon has a story behind it. Doesn't need to be there, but it just helps to build a connection between the wielder and the weapon. And buffs can also be added to weapons with the application of magic words. Yoko Taro had a unique way of throwing in aspects of other game styles in Automata, and Replicant is filled with them too. While it's an action-adventure, other genres pop up. Some areas feel like Diablo, with one particular mansion using the scene transitioning and style of Resident Evil. There's also a text-based segment. Other subtle nods exist throughout, but they all work. Nier Replicant is a gorgeous game, not just in the visuals but in its gameplay. Cutting through walls of shades, using magic against robots and giants, it all looks incredible. While the environments are also lovely to look at, there's a lot of emptiness. With a lack of fast travel, traversing through empty fields and deserts does become monotonous. When action is rampant or the story unfolds in some amazing scenes, these meandering sections slow the pace of an otherwise exciting adventure. A lot of the buildings you enter also suffer from the same desolation. It's by no means a deal breaker, but it does make Replicant feel lifeless at times. Nier Replicant is so damn fun to play though. Combat is ultimately its best feature, but some of the ideas are implemented superbly, whether in the story or the mechanics. Every environment is beautiful, and as a remaster, it improves greatly on its predecessor. In terms of the story, it isn't quite at the same level as Automata, but that doesn't matter, because you won't feel let down. Replicant is a great prequel, offering an interesting cast of characters and an exciting adventure. And for that reason, I'm going to score it an 8 out of 10. Hello there, that was Chris White's review of Nier Replicant from Square Enix and Toy Logic. If you enjoyed the review, please consider hitting like and subscribe. Maybe tag that bell icon too, so you're kept up to date with all the reviews, previews, videos, unboxings, what have you, that we post on a given day. And if you'd like to support us via our Patreon, we appreciate everything that you guys do for us. In the meantime, I've been Mick Fraser, that was Chris White's review of Nier Replicant, and you guys have been lovely. Bye.